Hi, my name is Dr. Les Anderson, and I'm a beef extension specialist at the University of Kentucky. In this module in the Beef Systems Analyzer, we'll discuss controlling the calving season. There are many reasons to control the calving season, but probably the most important were brought out in this experiment done by ag economists when they analyzed the research from 394 ranches based in the Southwest. On these 394 ranches, calving season lengths of all lengths were examined. And what they wanted to do, the goal of the experiment, was to determine if the length of the calving season actually impacted the productivity and profitability of a beef cow-calf operation. Again, of the 394 ranches that they surveyed or studied, there were calving season lengths as long as 365 days and as short as 70 days, and multiple ranches at each day range. What they found was that the length of the calving season was positively associated with the cost of production, which means as the calving season increased, the cost of production increased. In their data, the cost per 100 pounds of weaned calf increased almost 5 cents per head per day. And the pounds of calf weaned per cow per year decreased by 0.158 pounds per day. So in other words, the cost of production increased and the pounds produced decreased. To put these in more relatable terms, what they reported was that year-round calvers sold about 46 fewer pounds of calf per cow per year, and the cost of production was about $14 per hundredweight more. So it cost more and they received less revenue. Tom Troxell at the University of Arkansas further expanded these data, and his goal was to take 6 farms, which were all year-round calvers, and move them to controlled calving, which he defined as less than 90 days, and he used a 3 to 5 year period to transition these farms. The key to Tom's data was that he analyzed every production statistic. So how many calves were weaned, the total pounds weaned, and how much it cost to produce each pound. Okay? And so what he found at the end of his trial was he was able to significantly reduce the length of the calving season, and the percent of cows which calved in the window that they desired was dramatically increased. Mature cow calving percentage, however, was not impacted. And so this is one of the things that people argue with me about when it comes to long-term or year-round calving. The opinion they express is that, well, if I just leave the bull in longer, he'll eventually get them all pregnant. Actually, that's not the case. In controlled calving seasons, pregnancy rate is often equal, if not higher, than in long-term or year-round calving situations. Dr. Troxell calculated the herd break-even, that's the dollars spent, to break even, right? And the break-evens were 1/3 less. His specified cost, which is out-of-pocket cost per animal unit, which is 1,000-pound cow-calf pair, was half, and his income over specified costs was double. So controlling the calving season doesn't cost anybody money. It actually improves the bottom line. If you look at the data from most of the SPA analysis, standardized performance analysis from Iowa State University, Texas A&M, Illinois, North Dakota State, for beef cattle producers to be profitable, selling in a feeder calf market. All females need to calve in a 75 to 90 day window. Our pregnancy rates need to exceed 90%. Calf death loss needs to be lower than 2%, so that greater than 88% of the cows that we expose to a bull actually wean a calf. So how do we get there? Perhaps you're seeing yourself in a long-term or year-round calving situation now, and you think, might be costing me a little bit of money, or maybe it's not quite as convenient. Well, the first thing we need to do is to understand the problems. Then we need to figure out which tools we have and how we can use them. Then develop and implement a plan, and then, of course, stick to it. In the several modules that are going to follow, we're going to discuss each one of these issues. So what are the problems? From 2015 to 2022, the University of Kentucky Beef IRM team engaged in a program called the UK Farm Program, where we went on about 150 different farms and we helped farms transition from one point of productivity to another point of productivity. About 40% of the farms that we dealt with had year-round calving situations. One of those is illustrated here, and this just demonstrates the normal problem that we see with long-term calving situations. What this farmer's marketing goal was to sell feeder calves. He had calves starting in January, and his calving season extended for a 339-day window. With little control over his calving season, he had several cows in that calendar year that did not calve, but he wasn't doing preg checks, so he wasn't 100% sure when the last time they calved was, so his efficiency of his reproductive program was pretty low. Cows were calving over the entire year, and this fellow had an off-the-farm job, and so he wasn't there all the time. He wasn't able to concentrate his labor in a specific time, and he had 5 calves that died. In 2015, out of the 27 cows, he marketed only 16 calves, and those 16 calves were spread throughout the year. So let's take a little deeper dive into this. He was selling feeder calves. So he weaned them, typically backgrounded them, and then he sold them. What's his marketing plan? How are those calves going to be marketed? I'll tell you how they were marketed. They were put in a trailer, hauled to the stockyards, and most were sold as singles. Singles are the stockyards' dream. No offense to the stockyards, because that's how they make money. But selling singles is not a marketing plan. It's just marketing. Well, really, it's not just marketing. It's just selling. You have a product and you sold it. You didn't market it. You didn't capture the value out of that product. You didn't give yourself the ability to capture as much value from your calves as possible. Just to tie it all up, his pounds of calf wean per cow exposed were normal for a year-round calver that does minimal management. Somewhere in that 310 to 320 to 25 range is what I typically see. So this is what the normal repro plan looks like, right? We have some cows. We find a bull. We put the bull with the cows. At some point in time, she calves. And then when we're ready to sell the calf, we just put a bunch of them together, take them in, and we take our beating selling singles. What do we want? This is the goal. This is the same farm 5 years later. Still had 27 cows. Part of the program is we wanted to maintain the cow herd size or increase it a little bit. But this guy's resources dictated about 27 cows. He had 21 of them calved in March. He had 21 of them calved in February, 5 of them calved in March. They calved over a 49-day window. He had 26 total calves born. 1 cow did not calve. None died. And his pounds of calf wean per cow exposed were right at 500 pounds. What tools can we use to take us, to transform us from where we are to where we want to be? By first and foremost, the most important tool we can use is to call. Replace, if necessary. So who do we call? A lot of times we want to consider calling open females. Perhaps not all open females. Some economic data indicates that maintaining or keeping younger open females might be an economically advantageous situation. But for the most part, if you come into your herd in a year-round calving situation, get rid of the open cows. Figure out when you want them to calve that's going to make you the most money in your marketing plan. And breed, maintain, keep those cows that were bred accordingly and will calve in a window that will make you money. And then finally, get rid of all your bad cows. People are amazed when we come into farms and we run the cows through and we start sorting off the junk and selling the junk and replace them with something pretty decent. They're amazed at how much better their productivity and profitability is when they get rid of their bad cows. You take that bottom 25% off and all of a sudden your productivity and profitability has gone up. A couple of more tools. If you want them to calve in a controlled period, you need them to be bred in a controlled period. If you want them bred over a short period of time, we need to control estrus. Random, taking that random cow and turning it out randomly with a bull and randomly allowing her to calve is not a production plan. That's just having cows. If you want a controlled calving season, you have to control breeding. And to control breeding, we have to control when they come into heat. And we can do that very effectively either for natural service or for AI. In the next module, we're going to go over several examples on how to implement estrus synchronization in AI and different culling techniques to maximize our opportunity to increase productivity and profitability and to change our ability for our calves to hit our market plan.